Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. As always, I pray that everyone is doing well, enduring, this is state of the world that we're living in right now, this COVID and these strains, and it's a wild time to be living in. Beautiful in its own right. It's life, we're living. But it's a very sad and stressing time, a depressing time, because a lot of people are catching this COVID. A lot of people are dealing with the loss of it, and just a number of issues, financial and emotional and otherwise. So, I pray that everyone's enduring, and not just enduring, not just existing, but striving to do and be better, digging deeper within ourselves to harness our energy, because we have it in us to do, and moving forward, moving above and beyond the state that we're in. It's easy to become complacent and comfortable with where we are, but there's so much more to life. There's so much more in us. So keep pushing, keep striving. I thank you all for always tuning in. So many of you all check on me. If you haven't heard from me for a while, you ask about me, you let me know where you at. And I honestly and genuinely appreciate that. So today I want to speak about depression. Depression. It's a very serious and severe thing. And so many of us have it, especially in the inner cities. Pardon me, I can't say especially in the inner cities. I know the inner cities, and I know inner city youth and inner city people. And so I see it in abundance, and never really knew what it was until, you studied it. You begin to read material on depression and anxiety and grief and things like that. And then you realize, man, I'm depressed. I'm anxious. This is why studying PTSD is so important, because these things are linked. But I want to read the definition of depression. 1 second, I had it. It says the feeling of severe despondency or dejection. And so, of course, I looked it up. And despondency was a state of low spirits caused by loss of hope or courage. And so when I read that, I see it. When I was incarcerated, first the number, that they give people causes that alone, and most people try to deal with it. They ignore it, or they ignore it on the surface, but your subconscious deals with it when you sleep. It deals with it when there's quiet environment. Then your subconscious begins to become louder, and it'll tell you things you don't want to hear. Man, can you really do life? Can you do 40 years? Can you do 10 years? Shoot, some people, can you do 10 days in the jail? Some jails are treacherous. I'm talking about from the moment you step in that bullpen, guys is at you. They trying to get your shoes. They want the donut. They want your milk. They want everything, and they willing to fight for it, And so, your subconscious begins to say these things, man. Who's going to be there with you while you do this time? Who's going to be alive when you get out? Will you still have a car? Will you still have clothes? Will you still have your bicycle? Will you still have friendships? And all these things run through your mind when you're doing time. And ultimately the answers usually come about with time. Slowly but surely, people are going to fall off. People are going to leave. Girlfriends and boyfriends, they're going to leave. Some will leave and come back. They have lives to live. Family members, some will write, some won't. Some will leave, some will come back. People will introduce themselves. People will be introduced to you. So You have people coming and going your whole bed, and that's the reality. But this causes feelings of loss, you know, and a lot of us who come home, we get in relationships, but we're oftentimes expecting it to run its course swiftly, because so many relationships in prison ran their course swiftly. You know, even if you had somebody in your life for a year, in prison is not the same as having someone in your life for a year. And there's like, they're there, you know, they come and visit, they send money, they send packages, you know, you write, you send gifts, you know, you look around and you find, you know, a lot of oddities. Guys make things and you send these arts and crafts home. You're looking magazines and you try to order things, send all that home. But ultimately, you're holding on by a thread, and oftentimes with a firm grip. So, you know, sometimes you stay on the phone too long. You check it up on your people too often. You're fearful of letting them get away. You don't want them around a bunch of other people because you fear if they go, let's say you're a man and, you know, your girl says she's going to a beach, man, that scares you because she out there, she gonna be looking at guys with six packs, you know, muscular physiques. And so your mind, you worried like, man, you know, who gonna pull her? You know, if she say, man, I'm going to the club with my girlfriends, you wondering who she gonna meet at the club, you know what I mean? And she gonna remain faithful and loyal. So again, these realities, these situations, they cause depression. And I've seen guys in prison, man, just lay in their cells all day. No lie. I'm not exaggerating when I say all day. It was a guy, he was from DC named Wayne. But I think he stayed in the Roanoke area, right? Light-skinned guy. And when I met him, he was a decent guy. When he came in, he was energetic, loved to play ball. But he had about, I think he had like 30 or 40 years, right? Under the what they call the old law. That was time given out before 1995. So, you know, let's say during 30 years, if he did his time right, he still should have seen freedom after about, you know, 10, 15 years, depending upon his charge. And he had an assault charge and a shooting in an unauthorized dwelling charge. So guys would get on drugs in prison. They would get on this thing, Thorazine. I knew a couple guys in Fairfax jail that did the same thing. They would actually go talk to psychologists or psychiatrists, and they would, you know, tell them the most depressing stories they could, and, you know, they don't feel well and they're suicidal. And guys would get on this, and when I first saw it, it was like a little liquid they used to come around with at medicine call, and it was a little liquid. I want to say it was like orangish, and guys would drink it, and they would sleep, right? They would sleep, and every day you would see these guys drinking it. And their eyes would begin to have these dark rings around them. And I'm like, man, why are these guys starting to look like that? And I think I got into a few situations that in the jail, I hadn't seen Stoney in like 6 months. When I saw him again, he was slimmer, noticeably. He had real dark rings around his eye. And like he was just lethargic. You know, every time you see him, he was just drained. And he had about 20 years, you know. And other guys followed suit. They would get on these medicines, and they would try to sleep their time away. It was another guy in Greensville on A unit, A1, the 300 pod. Dark-skinned guy. I think his name was Wolf, or that's what guys called him. I don't know if that was a nickname or his real last name, but this man's cell was pitch black, you know, because at one time you could actually put something in your window, not to blacken the cell, but you could kind of put a tile in there, 2 tiles, you know, even your blue shirt to kind of dim it, you know, get some rest because it's bright, you know, and, you know, a lot of guys stay up late at night, but during the day, you know, they'll go to rec, come in and they'll recline. But this guy blacked out and say he would take his whole jacket and stick it in the window. Officers would tell him about it. Officers would come in the cell, argue, you know, take it out, give him a charge. But this guy was on medicine. And when he first started his time, like I said, like many people, he came in, was playing basketball, you know, and staying active. But after about 2 years, the reality of his time setting, he had something like 67 years. And he would just stay in the cell, pitch black. He would avoid showers. I was in the pod with him. And he wouldn't go to showers or nothing. I remember one time, 2 guys, man, they were real tight, good brothers, man. One was named Red Dog, and another West Indian brother, I think name was Dominique, West Indian guy, and they were like the best of friends, you know. They were tight, you know. Whenever you saw one, you saw the other. And Red Dog was passing out ice, and he walked past the guy's cell. And at one time, you know, you didn't go to a dude's cell and look directly in the cell. That goes back to one of my videos about rules in prison. You didn't look in the guy's cell. You know, you would tap the door, you know, and then you would say, yo, excuse me, pardon self. And he tapped the guy's cell, and it was, like I say, pitch black, but, you know, he's offering everybody ice. It was hot. And the guy, you know, you heard him mumble something, because, like I said, I was a few cells down, and he mumbled something, and Red Dog was like, man, yo, I'm passing out ice. And then the guy got belligerent, get away from my door, because everybody could hear that, get away from my door, mother ever, woo, and just started, like, spazzing, cussing and everything. So Red Dog was like, okay. And in the booth, we had a CO, a lady CO, and she was pretty cool, meaning that, you know, she wasn't really strict. If you come out and take a shower, you got 15 minutes. If you take 20 minutes, you know, if you kind of run around one or two cells, she wouldn't bother you. But if you kind of, you know, hanging out too late, then she'll tap on the microphone and get your attention. She wouldn't yell or whatever. She'll tap on, and, you know, you'll look up and she, you know, you'll be like, okay, I'm gone. And, you know, Red Dog passed out ice to 3 more cells. And I remember, man, I like I said, I was there. I was in my cell. I just came in from the shower. And the showers were going up. So when I come in, the next cell, and then the guy's cell. And so Red Dog had asked one of the guys not to come out, you know, the cell, like, hold on, let me get this next cell open. And guys knew what time it was, because the guy was belligerent, got real disrespectful. Suffice to say, Red Dog got the man's cell door and was like, man, such and such want to take his shower now. So when the sister opened the door, she goes to the other side of the booth, which takes her attention to the other part. And Red Dog run up in that cell, man, and stabbed that man about 3-4 times. And the guy shot out his own cell, and that's when Dominique pounced on him. They hit him a couple times, man. He lived, you know what I mean? But there was blood on the floor. The guy was pretty good at moving, you know, let me say that, you know. And so, you know, he didn't get hit as bad as it could have been, you know, because like I said, he moved. But he had been in the cell, you know, for so long. And I'm not exaggerating. I was in the pod with this guy. I'm going to say this situation happened, and I had been in the pod for like 5-6 months. I'd only seen him take a shower a handful of times, and that's generous. That's generous. But that's depression. You know, some of the symptoms of depression are lack of sleep, because you're anxious, you're always up, you're always thinking, what's going on? What's this? What's that? You know, you're overthinking, you know, how can I get that right? How can I do this? You know, and your mind won't allow you to sleep. But another symptom is constant sleep. And that is because your conscious mind, you're dealing with everything. You're working, you're going to school, you're dealing with children, you're dealing with relationships. But your subconscious mind is tired of dealing with the stress of whatever situation you're in. So it finds itself so subdued that you sleep a lot. You know, you sleep and you get up, you sit around, you know, and you go back to sleep. And that's how it was in prison, man. So many guys sleep, man. I'm talking about all day. That's why a lot of guys don't get educations. That's why a lot of guys won't get programs in prison, you know, because, you know, a lot of programs are early in the morning. So far, school, GED and things like that, vocational classes. And the guys are sleeping. They stay up all night because at night it is quiet, but they can watch TV and they can kind of, you know, without the hustle and bustle of prison, you know, they kind of just begin to sit there and focus on TV. I've seen guys sit up on their TV so close. They're small televisions, monitors, really. But guys sit up on them and their eyes are red when they get up in the morning, go to breakfast, because they've been up all night and they only got an hour of sleep. And when they come back in, it's count time around 7 o'clock. After that, they're asleep until the next count time, which is like 12. Then they may go to sleep again, or they'll go to child. They may go to rec yard. Then they come back in and go to sleep. And I see it in the streets, you know, in prison, drugs. That was a reality. Guys could get, you know, crack. Guys could get heroin. Guys could get, you know, alcohol. Guys made wine. You know, they call it mash or hooch or whatever. Guys could get that on the regular, you know, especially the wine, you know, and other drugs, guys get that. A lot of time, the prescription drugs that were given to guys who either needed it or guys that con their ways into getting it, they sell it. You know, guys get drugs, man, you know, and the nurse is supposed to stand there and watch you pop the pill, right? And, you know, swallow it. They don't do that. They give you the pill, you toss it back, you put it up under your tongue, and you know, you let it dry or whatever. Next thing you sell it the next day, you know, $5, $10, $15. So you have guys and they're getting high all day. And this is depression. This is their way of avoiding the reality of what they've done, the results of it. And out here, I see the same. You know, I see the same. You know, People are depressed. People are unhappy. People are in relationships where either neither is trying to make it work, or one is trying a little bit, the other's not trying, or, or both just, like I say, don't care. Or they care, but not enough to do anything. And so people are drinking out here, in abundance. I look on every corner, like I say, I'm in DC, every corner has a liquor store. And every liquor store has 3 or 4, people in front of it. I want to say winos, but I'm not trying to judge, but I'm being honest, and they've been in front of these liquor stores for years. They're in front of 7-Eleven, younger people in front of 7-Eleven. That was a shock to me when I got it. When I was young, when I was 13, 14, my father instilled in me work ethic. My Uncle Wayne instilled in me work ethic. My cousin Abubakar instilled in me work ethic. A family friend who's like an uncle, Jabali, instilled in me work ethic. I wasn't surrounded by lazy people. Even an older brother I hung with uptown named Pookie instilled in me work ethic. He was working construction, dropped out of school when he was like 15, but he was working construction for like 10 years. So he didn't, my people, man, even the women in my family, a few were on welfare. My mom was on welfare, but the majority of people in my family, man, they tried to work, and they were on welfare. They still didn't believe in just laying in the house doing nothing. You can clean up, you can go outside. They tell you, go pump some gas, go wipe some windows, and I did all that. I would hit the gas station on, 14th and Euclid. We would go to Georgetown and beat the buckets, that DC, we know for go-go. So, we did these things, but even looking back then, I saw depression. I saw alcohol as the answer, drugs as the answer. Joking and ragging one another becomes the answer. And so when I sit back and watch some of the TV shows where the people would sit in the dinner table and they would eat and they would have good conversations and they would just enjoy each other's company. It wasn't always, you fat, you black, you short, you too tall, your teeth is yellow, your clothes is passed down, you're on welfare, you're a bum, you're from this neighborhood, I'm from that neighborhood, like that. When I sit back, that was the norm for us. We live with insults on our tongue. It's like having a decent and kosher and conscious conversation is impossible today. What's going on in the news, man? Some hurricanes, man. People are suffering, man. Wow, or, man, I want to go feed the homeless, man. Let's put some stuff together, man. We got a lot of canned goods, or, man, we got so many extra clothes. Let's not just throw them in the trash. Let's wash them. Let's go give them to the homeless or something. Like, having a conversation like that is, strange. But having a conversation like, man, what you doing Friday? Shoot, man, I'm going to get something to drink, man. Watch this game, man. What you trying to do? Man, come through, And that's the thing. Let's drink. Let's watch sports, and act like the problems that we have don't exist. And that's fun to us. And so when you begin to say, let's go to a park. Let's just go find some water. Let's go find a creek. Let's go find some woods or a bike trail. Let's go find let's exercise together. Let's go make our rounds. Just go check up on family. Let's do stuff like that. Man, you get a million excuses, So beware of depression. Beware of depression. Let's find ourselves, man, finding joy in our nature, finding strength in our nature. And good morning. And let us strive to do and be better, because it's in us to do and be better, right? But it takes a lot of digging. Layers have been placed upon our hearts. Layers have been placed upon our conscience. And these layers are thick, some are harder to get beyond, but we have it in us. Man, we have it in us. We got so much beauty in us as humans. Man, you have people out there every day feeding the homeless from the kindness of their heart. You have people out there loving one another from just a natural and a beautiful place. You have people out there, man, trying to save the world, trying to save others, and we have the same thing in our blood that they have in theirs. Our heart pumps like theirs. So we have it in us to do, right? So fight it. Fight that depression, right? Find beauty in nature. Find beauty in peace. Find beauty in kosher, in serenity, sobriety. Find beauty in that. And, the more we find in that, the greater we become together, the more of us, we have to energize one another. So with that, man, thank y'all. As always, I appreciate y'all. You all encourage me and you push me, right? So continue to push yourselves and push each other. Peace.